Good morning. I'm Lynette Wilson, and I am just to tell you a little bit about myself. I was the caregiver for my husband, Roy, who had Alzheimer's disease for 10 years, and have also been a member during that time for 8 of those years as a member of an Alzheimer's support group, and for the last 4 years as the co-facilitator of a combination support group and educational group in Wake Forest, which I will continue to do even though my husband died about a year ago. So I've had some experience with support groups, and I want to share some of my thoughts about them with you today. Let's start by asking you a question. What do you need more of as a caregiver? More help? More time? More money? Just more of you? As caregivers, we often feel torn between meeting the needs of the person with dementia and our own needs, or worse yet, we just neglect our own needs in favor of meeting theirs. Caregiving in general is classified as a chronic stress experience. You probably know that inherently, even if you've never heard it articulated before. Caring for a person with dementia is more challenging than caring for a person with physical disabilities alone. In fact, the overall burden and associated negative physical, mental, and psychosocial impacts for caregivers for a person with dementias has been found to be higher than for almost all other diseases of an aging population. In part, this is because people with dementia typically require more supervision, are less likely to express gratitude for the help they receive, and are more likely to be depressed. This is also true because dementia is so unpredictable. We never know what might happen today or how long this journey is going to last. It's no wonder then that dementia caregivers report higher levels of stress, more depression and anxiety symptoms, and lower levels of subjective well-being. In general, they experience worse physical health outcomes, more compromises in their immune response, greater medication use, and, not surprisingly, greater cognitive decline compared to non-caregivers or to caregivers for those with other chronic diseases. Given the sheer number of physical and mental demands that a caregiver faces, it's not surprising that studies have shown that they have a number of unmet needs. One study by the Alzheimer's Association used home assessment as well as formal questionnaires to identify the most prevalent unmet needs for caregivers. The number one unmet need, identified by 98% of those who participated in the study, was for dementia education, skills training, knowledge of, and access to community resources. While caregiving can have many negative effects, we need to also remember that there are positives that can come out of this experience. Caregiving can increase one's self-confidence and self-reliance, and it can also contribute to a sense of pride and accomplishment. Viktor Frankl, who was a Jewish psychiatrist who was imprisoned at Auschwitz, believed that all people experience difficult circumstances which they cannot change, but that they can find meaning and purpose by changing how they view those circumstances. He wrote, and this is a quote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." So what do we get from a support group that's unique and so powerful in our caregiver journey? How can a support group help mediate stress, address some of those unmet needs, and reinforce the positive aspects of caregiving? I'm going to tell you about some ways I've identified that support groups can do that. Support group members understand. I mean, they really understand. They understand how crazy it makes one feel when the person with dementia is his old self, when there are other people around and a completely different person with them. They understand how she can fool others, including her medical care provider sometimes, into thinking that she's okay while consistently forgetting how to get home, what the appropriate clothing is to wear for the weather is, or the answer to the question that she just asked for the 100th time in the last 30 minutes. Support group members share knowledge, wisdom, and resources. They are both coach and cheerleader. Everyone in the support group is willing to share what they've learned in the hope of making life easier for another caregiver. They share what worked and didn't work to get someone to eat more, to calm down, or to accept the change to wearing Depends. They share how they dealt with driving issues and with being shadowed everywhere they go. They share how to respond to delusions and hallucinations, what medicines seem to help, and what information is most important to relay to a medical care provider. And they share ways to relay that information so that you're not providing it in front of your family member and making them really mad at you. They reinforce that one of the most important goals of caregiving is keeping both yourself and the person with dementia safe. They know about resources in the community that you might never find out about otherwise. And best of all, you get to pick from this smorgasbord of information to find out what works best for you and in your situation. Support group members accept you for who you are on any given day. They understand the ups and downs of caregiving and how the demands can wear you down. They understand that some days you feel beaten up and some days you're on top of the world because you figured out how to make the day better for your person with dementia and for yourself. They know the feeling of being in control of your responses to the person with dementia and of being so out of control that you're ashamed of what you think, say, or do. Support group members help you feel less isolated. We certainly all recognize, even more than ever, the value of social support thanks to the COVID pandemic. Support group members don't shy away from you like some friends or family members who either don't know how to interact with a person with dementia or find staring dementia in the face just too scary to do. Support group members are heroes, a term my co-facilitator Pat Snyder defines as those who run toward danger when others are running away from it. Support group members can laugh with each other, often about things that no one else would find laughable. Who else can really understand how it can be funny when your loved one pees on your foot multiple days in a row because he can't figure out how to sit down on the toilet quickly enough? Or when you have to chase turtles out of the bathroom so he's not afraid he's going to step on one? And where else would you find a group of people who all forgot to do something critical, like turning on the oven to bake a turkey while helping get ready for a holiday meal? Support group members make you feel valued. They appreciate what they learn from your experience and give you positive feedback on suggestions that you make that work for them. They value your knowledge and your experience just as you value theirs. They are there for you no matter what. They call, text, or email when your loved one has a major crisis, or just to check in if they know you're having a particularly difficult time. They surround you with love when your loved one dies, and some of them remain friends into your life after caregiving. Support group members consistently remind you of the need to take care of yourself. One of the most difficult challenges of being a caregiver is that of taking care of oneself. We all invest so much time and energy in making life good for the person with dementia that we have little, if any, left for ourselves. Support group members can make suggestions for brief and for longer times away from caregiving, and they ask you if you've taken that time that you promised you would figure out how to take. They help hold you accountable for meeting your own needs at least part of the time. There's a song that all of us have heard frequently during the COVID pandemic. It's been sung by people in New York, in Dallas, and in Chicago as they lean out of their apartment windows or stand socially distanced from one another, by healthcare providers in hospitals and clinics, and by Walmart employees. The song is Lean on Me, and it includes these very powerful words. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. In part, this song resonates so strongly with all of us because it memorializes the need we as humans have to care and to be cared for. Although many of us think of Stevie Wonder when we hear the song, it was actually written by Bill Withers as a tribute to the strong community ethic he experienced growing up in a small coal mining town in West Virginia. There are many times in our lives when we need that commonality of community to get us through the pain and sorrow that we're living. Caring for a loved one with dementia is one of those times. By their actions, support groups sing us this song and assure us that we're not alone in our journey. So what are you waiting for? Support groups are available in person and online at different times of the day and for different kinds of dementia. Support groups also have different personalities. If one doesn't fit your needs, don't give up. Look for another one that works for you. You can also find listings of support groups on the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina website and on the websites of other organizations devoted to dementia education. There are many decisions that we have to make when we are caregivers for someone with dementia. Perhaps one of the most important is, as Frankel said, what we will learn from this experience that changes us for the better. Being an active part of a support group is one of the best ways to learn over and over again that we can survive and become a better person, even in the midst of this most terrible experience. In that respect, it is the ultimate example of what leaning on someone else and having them lean on you really means. Thank you.